Josh Allen, let's go.
Yeah. All right, so the Buffalo Bills have made the leap, right? They've officially drafted a quarterback, and it is Josh.
Oh!
Was that a Yeti? So tell me everything we need to know about new Bills quarterback, Josh Allen. Everybody talks about the arm, but there's got to be something more than just the arm, right?
Yeah, well, you would hope, right? So right off the bat, Josh Allen.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Josh Allen, right off the bat, 6'5", 237 pounds. He's got a big frame. Will be very durable in the NFL. Just with that frame alone, to knock, completed only 56% of passes in college, 44 career touchdowns and 21 career interceptions, so right around 2 to 1.
Yeah, that's a bit of a concern. So the one thing that we've talked about a little bit, he only threw 16 touchdown passes this year. So,
yeah.
I mean, a huge drop-off from the year before. So when you go and you look from last year to this year, what was the cause of the drop, and why were the Bills so comfortable at taking Allen where they did?
Okay, well, I'm not a big fan of saying it, but I think it's got to be said because there is some justice to it. He definitely didn't have near the offensive line, and he definitely didn't have near the offensive talent. So that can definitely be a factor in it. However, I think I would like to see your quarterback that we just took elevate the player there on the players. Did he do that at times? Yes. However, not as much as I would like to see, and basically as much as you'd want to see in a prospect that you take that high.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So everybody talks about the arm strength, right? Is it touch? Does he have the ability to lay it out there soft, or is it Colin Kaepernick 100 miles an hour all day, every day?
Yeah. Now I think he's shown the ability to have some touch throws, to be able to put the ball in some spots on some corner routes, thrown down the middle of the field where it really wows you. Now, does he at times throw the ball 74 miles an hour like I just saw the other day with his finger speed, whatever that is? I guess he does throw it very hard at times, and does it hinder the ability for his receiver to catch the ball? Yes, because as we all know, he doesn't have the greatest accuracy in the world. So if you put a ball that it's got way too much power on it, not in an accurate position, the chances of your receiver catching that isn't very high.
Yeah, Rylan, I've always taken the other side of it as far as, you want to look at the positives of him throwing a 95 mile-an-hour football. The thing about it is, what I like about it is the development. If he happens to be a little bit slower on his reads and his progressions and stuff like that, having that arm is one of those things you have that he can still make the read late and get the ball there on time. So that's the one thing about that arm that I think a lot of people tend to gloss over about him. The Bills go up to get their guy. They take Allen. Now, here's the thing that always was a big thing with me, Rylan. I know it's a big thing with you. We talk about chips on players' shoulders. He wasn't recruited coming into college. He wasn't, he wasn't highly, he always said he wanted to make people pay for passing up on him, not believing him and all this stuff. Now you're the guy. How does that change how is that going to change his mindset going into the NFL?
Yeah, I think that's key, because I think when you've got a player, let alone your quarterback, that has a chip on their shoulder, they're going to do anything and everything to get better, to go out and prove people wrong. And I think that's going to be really important with his development, because he's going to have that drive, have that determination to go out there and get better in areas where he struggles, and learn the offense and become ready to play as fast as he can. There's no sit back, let me sit behind A.J. McCarron, Nate Peterman. He's going to get out there and expect to be the starter, and he's going to go out and prove himself. And I think that's a really exciting trait to have in your quarterback, and something that I hope the whole team has. I hope they have a chip on their shoulder, and I hope they're ready to play week 1. I don't think it changes for him, because I think you go through 3-4 years of your life having to go to a JUCO, having to come into Wyoming, and which Mountain West Conference he went to college for free, but you get what I'm saying.
Farmersmeat.com.
Yeah. That's not like, don't tell me that was your ideal spot, Josh.
Well, he admits he got one offer, and it was Wyoming. Like, he was like, I got one offer, it was Wyoming, so I went. I mean, all of us would do the same thing. You get one offer, it's D1, you go. That's it.
Yeah. And the thing about that, too, is you get in there and play, and you're like, I want to kick the living, you know what, out of this team that I sent my tape to, and they didn't want to offer me anything.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's just one of those things where I can't get. Maybe it's the Rocky mentality for me. Like the guy.
Well, you got hit in the head too many times.
He did. I did too. But the problem is this. You know, he fought. He clawed. You know, he was always. No one thought he was the guy, so he always had that mentality of I'm not the guy. I got to prove it to them. I got to prove it. And now you're in an NFL team that gave up a bounty of picks for you. You're gonna be the guy. Yep. I just worry about becoming complacent now. It's like once you've won something, you know, they say it's harder to stay at the top than get to the top. You know what I mean? With him, I just don't. That's the thing that worries me a little bit with these guys. That Mayfield's got a chip on his shoulder. You know, Allen's got a chip on his shoulder. Lamar Jackson's gonna have the biggest chip on his shoulder. I just hope that if these guys, if they go high, is that going to change their mentality coming into the league? I hope not, but
my concern.
I think.
Oh, I'm sorry, Riley. Go ahead.
Okay, I think they're at a standpoint where, and you got to look at college football programs. They're 100% doing things to make them more mentally tough. So I don't think complacency should set in, especially at the quarterback position. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're going to be the front runners of that program, and they're going to be the ones that are worked with most in that situation. And something that we use where I go is, I'm just going to read it to you. So there's a rodeo bull rider, and I know this is kind of out there, but just go with it. There's a rodeo bull rider I know, a fellow named Tuff Heatman. He won 3 world championships in his sport, which is very difficult to do. So essentially, he's the Joe Montana of bull riding. The Joe Montana of bull riding. I just said it. After he won his 3rd championship in a row, right? So he took his stuff, didn't go far, he didn't go to Disney World like everyone does, or hit a talk show circuit. He moved his gear to Denver, where the next show would start over again. And people asked about it, like, dude, like, you don't celebrate or anything? He said, the bull don't care what I did last week. And that's got to hit home with every quarterback that's taken. You get what I'm saying? Like,
especially one in Wyoming.
Yeah.
So I have to ask,
That's awesome.
So Allen only threw 16 touchdowns, right? Yet he still was heralded as one of the top 2 to 3 QBs in this draft, proven by where he was drafted, right? So after a performance like that, going through the whole year, do you think he felt like his stock was dropping the whole year? And do you think that now the accolades that are given to him after a performance that he just recently put up, do you think that's gonna hinder that chip on his shoulder, right? Because let's put it all on blast. He certainly did not perform compared to the other quarterbacks in this class based solely on this last season. So does that compromise the chip on his shoulder?
That's an interesting question because he was the 3rd quarterback in Wyoming at the end of the year, and traded the farm to get him. So it's definitely, I hope it doesn't look at a situation, and I expect it not to look in a situation where we say, okay, you were good enough. Do you know what I mean? Because third in the Mountain West for me isn't good enough. That's going to put you at 32nd in the NFL. We drafted you because we saw in you a big body, a big arm, and a frame that we can develop, and a frame that we can work on. I know we traded the farm to get him, but I expect A.J. McCarron to be the starter. I expect him to be taken up, and maybe in the middle of the season if we're struggling, maybe towards the end of the year, he can get some reps in there. He can get some burn as the starting quarterback. But he's definitely got some room to grow, and I definitely think he's got the capability to grow.